What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now shout out to the DoD Disciples of Doom. I showed this build in a huge gameplay video last week showing that Striker is cheesy in PvP. Prior to that, I did a poll and about 80% of you thought Striker was not cheesy at all in PvP. And before that, Jet Forth did a video showing you guys how to cheese Striker on skills. But you guys understand that I also did a video on it a week before that showing you guys the exact same thing, and the title of the video was Striker is Broken. So I figured, us explaining it to you, and then I saw the poll where a lot of you still didn't believe it. So I thought I'd show you guys gameplay. And this thing pretty much two-taps anything in front of it. And I have armor to face tank. It's a beautiful thing, the Railsplitter, because the Railsplitter now is a laser beam. It hits at over 1,000 RPMs again, thanks to the old Striker gear set bonus. And it's a lot of fun. You have crit, you have damage, you can have armor, and you're pretty much two-tapping anything in front of you. I think it's a cheesy build. But yeah, I've drawn this out for far too long. Let me just go ahead and show you the cheese. So here is your Striker cheese build. It is a Railsplitter crit build with damage. And yeah, I get a whole bunch of more damage for free. And then what I do is I pop the Gunner med kit, armor kit, and I get that extra 30% bonus armor on top of it. So let's see, 726, 30%, so I'm roughly right around the 950, 1 million armor mark when I'm actually using the cheese. I'll show you guys the gameplay again after this build breakdown, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll see that the stacks are up, you'll see that my armor's full up, and I am laser beaming and basically two-tapping people from like rifle distance. It's insane. It's because this thing has crits. It has the Coyote Mask for more crits. It has a big base damage as it is, but then I bring it up even more with the chest piece. And yeah, I think it hits around 4 to 410 headshots in the firing range with a Railsplitter. It's pretty good. So with all that, I am using the Gunner specialization primarily just for the med kit. That way I can get up to like that around 1 million armor mark, because a lot of people are either pretty squishy, using skills and they're squishy, or they think like they're tanks. So what you do is you overpower them with damage and you have just enough armor to outlast any sort of face tank. I'll show you guys plenty of footage after this build. So with that, that's your Gunner specialization. You could opt to use the foam grenade if you want. I'm just not too familiar with it myself. I just like using either the frag, incendiary, or the concussion. But mainly the concussion because of the damage. You see that the damage compared to the frag is a huge difference. And you get to hold more of them. Now moving to the weapons. I am using the Railsplitter. I actually even did a video on how the Railsplitter was trash in year 2. And my primary reason for that is that it didn't have perfectly measured. Instead, now it has perfectly accurate, which at first glance you're like, yeah, the RPMs are way lower, the damage is way lower, and now we have perfectly accurate, like what the F? So what I did is basically just threw it in my stash and waited, and luckily Striker bumps the Railsplitter up to 1,035 RPMs. So it feels like the Railsplitter did back in the day, if you understand my meaning. And not only that, but you have a base damage that is solid. Nothing changes, your RPMs don't change, and on top of that now you have perfectly accurate, which makes it more like a laser beam. So you get your RPMs back, your damage back, and now you're shooting a laser beam. It's pretty much a win-win. Before Striker came along, I wouldn't touch the Railsplitter, But obviously with Striker and these new RPMs, I am pretty much happy. Now, talking about the Railsplitter, here it is. 91.4k total damage. That's without the Striker stacks, anything. That's just base 91.4. Now with that, it's because I have 15% AR damage. I also have 13.5 health damage and then 6.5 crit. The crits on here are pretty good, just so you know. Now it does have that perfectly accurate, and if you look right here at the weapon handling, the accuracy and the stability are way over there to the right. I would probably say that's easily like 75% stability and then probably 65% or 70% accuracy. It's really strong. Now the mods I use on it are all crit based. I have crit damage on the flash hider, crit chance on the laser pointer, and crit damage on the on the optic. There we go, crit damage. Now for the magazine, I chose the sturdy extended for the extra 20 rounds. So I have 50 rounds hitting at 1035 RPMs and starting out damage 91.4k. Really strong. Now, to properly use the cheese, my method is I use an LMG. And what I did is I chose an LMG with really, really high RPMs, and then I rolled rate of fire on there. So this Negev is at 1011 RPMs. I do not use it against players at all. I use it only for the cheese, and I'll show you exactly why right before I end this and put you to the gameplay. But basically, you can get stacks, your Striker stacks up so quick with this Negev, and it holds 150 rounds. Your Striker chest piece only goes up to 100 stacks. So you only have to hit the target or whatever you're shooting 100 times. And you can figure that out with your Negev because you have 150 rounds. So just do the math, shoot whatever it is really quick. You can shoot 100 rounds really quick, I promise you. And for instance, if you put down your Stinger Hive, you shoot your Stinger Hive for probably a second, maybe two, pick up your Stinger Hive, all of a sudden you have all that damage and you still have all your skills. You switch back to your Railsplitter, and all of a sudden you have a two-tapper doing nothing. It's cheesy AF. Super cheesy. I despise this build, but so many people didn't believe it could be done, and that was just alarming because the Striker is beyond cheesy. So, I do use the backpack with the chest piece. Reason for that is that talent decreases the stacks you lose. So, if you're hitting a Railsplitter and say the enemy rolls, you're going to miss a few bullets. So you need to try to negate that as best you can, because obviously you can gain those stacks up really quick by shooting them. But the problem is you don't want to lose too many over time, because this risk management, it helps you in case, they take cover, they roll, whatever, and you miss a couple shots. You don't want to lose too many stacks. However, you also lose a stack every second. So, whenever you get your stacks up with your Negev and you pick up your Hive, you need to be relatively close to the enemies. You can play that as risky as you want. So what you do is you have a little bit of your armor down, you get closer to the enemies, your buddies are getting close, they're all posting up, you put your Hive down for a couple seconds, not even, that long, switch to your Negev, shoot it down to 50 or 45 rounds depending on if you missed, and make sure you get your 100 stacks, pick up your Stinger Hive, switch back to your Railsplitter, and all of a sudden you have a two-tap Railsplitter that shoots really quick. So, I hope that makes sense, because if you're running all the way across the map and you're going to lose a stack every second. So you need to be pretty quick, or you're going to have to put your hive back down, use that Negev, and then just get a few more stacks, which you can do, because it's that cheesy. So, yeah, that is the how to do the cheese part. So, how to do the crit part is a whole different story. What I did is I chose to do all reds. I chose the Coyote Mask, and the striker pieces come with red mod slots. So I have 17 reds on this build. Pretty good. Now, starting with the Coyotes Mask. You get this mask at level 35 during the seasons, so it's pretty easy to obtain. If not, you need to find the boss, Coyote, and try to kill him for the Coyotes Mask. And I believe that's at Jefferson Plaza. That's in Washington, D.C. Now this one has 15% weapon damage, 5.5 crit chance, and 11.1 crit damage. The red mod slot I threw on there is 5.4 crit chance, and the main reason I use it is Packed Instincts. It gives me more crit chance and or crit damage depending on the last part I shot somebody. And the best part about this is it stacks. So if someone else is running the Coyotes Mask with you, you're going to get even more. And having a crit build like this, it's really nice to, optimize it. So for this one, if the enemy is 0 to 15 meters, you get 25% crit damage. 15 to 25 meters, which is typically what it is, you get 10 crit damage and 10 crit chance. But if they're 25 plus, you get 25% crit chance. So just to skip right to it, my Railsplitter is at 48.4% crit chance. The cap is 60%. So with that being said, if I am shooting them between the 15 and 25 meter range, I get another 10%, which puts me roughly 58.4%. So right near the cap. So if I had, say, another one of my red mods was crit chance, I'd be able to max this out fairly easy. But I also wanted some crit damage. So running the 4-piece striker, it's not easy to have really high crits, damage, and all this together. So unfortunately, I can only get my crit hit damage to 69.4%, but if I am shooting between that 15 and 25 meter range, it goes up to 79.4, and then with nearly maxed out crit chance and all my stacks on my striker, it's pretty much a done deal. And the best part is if you laser beam them from 25 plus away, and it is possible, I'll show you guys some gameplay, you get that 25 crit chance to everyone on your team. And it's just always a bonus, that's for sure. Now, sorry to skip ahead, but I had to explain the mask. And that is Pack Instincts. Now, running the 4-piece striker. Let's go over the gear set bonuses. So, running 2-piece striker, I get 15% weapon handling. 3 pieces, I get 15% rate of fire. And then the 4th piece, I get Striker's Gamble, which if the more hits I do on the target, the more damage I get, and that is the entire cheese of this build. You can get stacks on your allies, you can get stacks on your allies' skills, you can get stacks on your skills. Anything. You could throw down your Seeker Mine, shoot it, and you can get stacks. This gear set is beyond cheesy. You can get the weapon stacks so easy, and it takes not even a couple seconds. Like, it's ridiculous. The backpack has that talent risk management. I explained it earlier. You don't lose as many stacks. Pretty self-explanatory. Now for this backpack, I have 15% weapon damage, 6% crit chance, and 11.5 crit damage. That crit damage is from the red mod slot. Chest piece, same deal. 15% weapon damage, 5.2% crit chance, and then this red mod slot, I chose a 11.8 crit damage mod. Now this talent has the press the advantage, which just gives us that 100 stacks. Now you can test out the damages if you want to use, say, glass cannon or something and then try to get a 4-piece. You could try it out, but I'm telling you right now, this thing, it holds its stacks and it destroys. I've never seen this Railsplitter hit harder than it does with these 100 stacks. If you can somehow find a better way, let me know in the comments and I'll try it out, and then we can test that and have like a Striker Cheese build 2.0 or something like that. But for right now, the 100 stacks, it really hits hard because you can go into any engagement with 100 stacks ready and it's sick. So yeah, that's the chest piece. Now the Striker gloves, again, 15% weapon damage, and then I rolled crit chance on there at 6%. The knee pads are Fenris, so I get 10% AR damage for the brand set bonus, 15% weapon damage for the core attribute, 14% weapon handling, and then 6% crit chance as the normal attributes. And then finally, Striker's holster, 15% weapon damage and 8.7 headshot damage. The only thing you could do to make this better is switch out that holster for a crit holster, and you'd be able to just maximize some more crits. Having headshot damage is nice, but I'm not really trying to do that with this build. I'm just trying to land my shots, kill the opponent as quick as possible. So getting crit would probably be more obtainable. Now the skills. I'm using the Striker, or the Stinger Hive. The Stinger Hive is to get them on bleed. It slows them down, makes them freak out, and it also shows me where they are, even through walls. Now the Explosive Seeker, same thing. I use that to get them on bleed. That way they're taking their damage away, or their health away, and I can see where they are. Now, for PvE, you could obviously switch these up. This is just a PvP build I've been using in Conflict, and it's been wrecking. But yeah, you could definitely use whatever skills and whatever specialization you want. This is just the way I've done the cheese. So what I do is I throw down my Stinger Hive, I shoot it with my Negev for like 2 seconds, pick it up, I have full stacks, let down my Seeker, the Seeker finds whoever it is, I run towards them. If I lost some stacks, I can throw down my Stinger Hive again, shoot it for a couple rounds, round that corner with 100 stacks, and whoever it is dead. Finish off with the stats. These are the Railsplitter stats. So 91,391 weapon damage, 50,265 PvP damage. 48.4 crit chance with 69.4 crit damage and 63.7 headshot damage. I do have 57% accuracy. Ridiculous. Now going with 29% weapon handling, I mean, again, that's pretty crazy. Now the offensive tab, I have 100% on the dot, all weapon damage, and 40% assault rifle damage. So I have 140% total damage bonus. Pretty nuts. And then use that with 100 stacks of Striker, and you can pick up what I'm throwing down. Now on the defensive tab, I do have 726,015 armor. But remember, if you use this the right way, you can pop medkit, and then you'll get somewhere around 1 million. I have 72,601 armor on kill and 279,570 health. I do only have 2.8 hazard on this build, but that's because I haven't spec'd anything on my watch to hazard on this character. 2.8% skill haste, but again, that's from my watch. And there you guys have it. That is the Striker cheese build. It's not like a legit, I wouldn't use this every day. It's fun to use, but it's cheesy, man, like, to be honest. So that's my little disclaimer. Use it as you want. I'm sure if this gets big enough, they'll probably try to nerf it, but we'll see. I am Kamikazevondoom. Don't forget, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Now I gotta show you guys that gameplay. Roll that tape! Alright, Railsplitter Striker test number 1. Say hi, Banshee. Alright, and here we go. There's the shield. And you're done. It's about 30 rounds out of the second magazine. Alright, And for reference, Banshee was using, hold up, Banshee was using 1.9 million armor with the exotic chest piece and a bulwark shield, 13.2 million health. Jesus.
Agent down. Rogue striker drone detected. Rogue seeker mine detected. Rogue stinger hive detected. Agent down. Detected.
The enemy is about to be pulled out. You're too strong for...
Agent down. Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent down. Immediate med- An agent needs assistance. Boost online. Immediate medical assistance needed.
Point Alpha is being held by your squad. All 3 points are held by friendlies.
Allies are acquiring the boost. Allies have acquired the boost. Rogue explosive seeker mine detected. Rogue sniper turret detected. Agent down. Immediate by allies.
There are no more reinforcements.
Allies have acquired the boost.
It's a win. Solid work.